Can everybody hear me okay? Good. My mic's working. Let's open in prayer to begin the study tonight, shall we? Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity we have tonight to gather around and study your word. Thank you for the people that have come tonight. May they be blessed by tonight's study. And just thank you that we can open your word and see what it has for us tonight and just gather around and study this incredible, amazing book. Ask your blessing upon Romans as he brings another study to us, another installment of basic Christianity. And I also pray that since his sound is not working right now at the moment, may that be able to be fixed, if it's your will. Amen. Okay. Sure. Okay. We are continuing in our series, Basic Christianity. Tonight, we are continuing in a review and examination of our Christian walk. The facet of basic Christianity. We are going to continue in our acrostic review of the phrase, by growing in grace. In regard to our following in the steps of Christ, we have covered this far the letters band Y and the G, R, O, and W. Last week, we continued in the first occasion of the letter I in the word growing. We are reviewing and examining Jesus' I am statements. Last week, we looked thoroughly at Jesus' first I am statement. I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. John 8:12. Picking up from where we left off last week, we move on to Jesus' next I am declaration. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved. It will go out and will go in and out and find pasture. John 10:9. When Jesus made this statement, it was essentially the third time he said it in verse 9. He made reference to it first when he said, "Truly, truly, I say to you, he who does not enter the sheepfold by the door, but climbs in by another way, that man is a thief and a robber. But he who enters the door by the shepherd, but he who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the gatekeeper opens. The sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by his name and leads them out." When he has brought out all his own, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. A stranger they will not follow, but they will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. Notice in verse 6, the response of the crowd, the figure of speech Jesus used with them. They didn't understand what he was saying to them. The account continues. So Jesus again said to them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who came before me were thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them." At this point, we come to tonight's I am declaration on verse 9. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. Of all of this, Matthew Henry writes, in the parable we have 1. The evidence of a thief and robber that comes to do mischief to the flock and damage to the owner. He enters not by the door, as having no lawful cause of entry, but climbs up some other way, at a window, or some breach in the wall. How industrious are wicked people to do mischief! What plots they will lay! What pains will they take! What hazards will they run in their wicked pursuits! This should shame us out of our slothfulness and cowardice in the service of God. 2. The character that distinguishes the rightful owner, who has a property in the sheep and a care for them. He enters in by the door as one having authority, and he comes to do them some good office or other, to bind up that which is broken, and strengthen that which is sick. Sheep need man's care, and in return for it, are serviceable to man. They clothe and feed those by whom they are clothed and fed. The 3. The ready entrance that the shepherd finds. To him the porter openeth. Anciently, they had their sheepfolds within the outer gates of their houses, for the greater safety of their flocks, so that none could come to them the right way, but such as the porter opened to, or the master of the house gave the keys to. 4. The care he takes and the provision he makes for his sheep. sheep hear his voice. When he speaks familiarly to them, when they come into the fold, as men now do to their dogs and horses, and, which is more, he calls his own sheep by name. So exact is the notice he takes of them, the account he keeps of them, and he leads them out from the fold to the green pastures. And when he turns them out to graze, he does not drive them, but, such as was the custom in those times, he goes before them to prevent any mischief or danger that might meet them. And they, being used to it, follow him and are safe. The strange attendance of the sheep upon the shepherd. They know his voice, so as to discern his mind by it, and to distinguish it from that of a stranger. For the ox knows his owner, and a stranger they will not follow. But as suspecting some ill design, will flee from him, not knowing his voice. But that it is not the voice of their own shepherd. This is the parable. We have the key to it. You, my flock, are men, and I am your God. Let us observe from this parable. 1. That good men are fitfully compared to sheep. Men, as creatures depending upon their Creator, are called the sheep of his pasture. Good men, as new creatures, have the good qualities of sheep, harmless and inoffensive as sheep, meek and quiet, without noise, patient as sheep under the hand of both the shearer and of the butcher, useful and profitable, tame and tractable to the shepherd, and sociable with another, and much used in sacrifices. The church of God in the world is a sheepfold, into which the children of God are scattered, that were scattered abroad or gathered together, and in which they are united and incorporated. It is a good fold. This fold is well fortified, for God himself is as a wall of fire about it. Three, this sheepfold lies much exposed to thieves and robbers, crafty seducers that debauch and deceive, and cruel persecutors that destroy and devour, grievous wolves, thieves that would steal Christ's sheep from him, to sacrifice them to devils, or steal their food from him, that they might perish for lack of it, wolves in sheep's clothing. Four, the great shepherd of the sheep takes wonderful care of the flock and of all that belong to it. God is the great shepherd. He knows that are his. He knows those that are his and calls them by name. Marks them for himself, leads them out to fat pastures, makes them both feed and rest there, speaks comfortably to them, guards them by his providence, guides them by his spirit and word, and goes before them to set them in the way of his steps.